Welcome back, everybody, to Riding the Wave podcast with your original host,
MJ in the house. Y'all better recognize.
And unfortunately, Aid is with us.
Hey, Aid. Think you got a booger, Aid? Hey, yo, Aid. You need to fucking grow up, Monique.
And obviously, most of you know me as Mo, Momo, or Mo to the Mo.
No, it's Mo to the motherfucking Mo. That sounds better.
Okay.
That's
very aggressive.
Politically correct.
Well, we need that aggression for this discussion.
Oh, it's gonna be a doozy, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna be a doozy. But first, let's do the cheers.
Cheers.
Because I could already hear Aid in the background. Come on, dog. You gotta do the cheers. You gotta do the cheers, dog.
Why does he sound old and raspy?
That's the way he sounds. He sounds like a graspy old man that just smokes cigarettes.
And for those of you that know, football season's slowly approaching, which is why...
Fly, Eagles, fly. Yeah, I already know there are going to be a lot of haters in the comment section. I know, but we repping over here. I told her to bring her gear because she's a Pittsburgh fan, so you had two Pennsylvania reps over here, but... She just forgot to bring the swag.
He really didn't tell me just because he wanted to wear.
I wanted to show off.
Yeah.
I wanted to show. I ain't gonna lie. I did.
He told me like once I came in the door.
Hey, but on a side note, what's all of your football team? Are you guys hyped for football? Drop a fucking comment. We want to know. So but the only ones who are excluded are Cowboy fans. You guys. I don't want to hear no. Don't drop a comment. It will be deleted.
He just lost so many followers.
I know, right? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah. So what's your current like, Mo?
My current is current. It's steady. It's afloat. I'm surviving and I'm thriving. So
all right.
I can't complain.
Okay. My current's good. Feeling like a loosey goosey. Feeling good. Feeling happy. So,
happy. He's happy.
You know, I'm feeling. You know, I got like the football flow. So I'm ready to fucking.
Do you think they're going to make it?
They're gonna make it this year. Faux show. KC, we coming for you. We want to do a run back.
So just a quick little story, because in our family we're all divided. But football is like our thing in our family. But I'll never forget when the Eagles won their first Super Bowl.
I cried.
Literally.
I cried. It was an exciting moment. That was the first Super Bowl that we won in 58 years since the organization. It's the first Super Bowl win. So it's a big deal. And then with the Philly special, don't get me started. I'm sorry, guys, don't get me started, because I'm gonna start doing some Pokai, Al Bundy, 4 touchdowns and 1. Don't see you're getting me started.
Sorry, guys, but we all got to experience that moment with him as a family. Like, it was me, my mom, my brother, my sister-in-law, his son. We were all just there at his old place in the driveway watching it, and it was a beautiful thing to see.
It was exciting.
It
was an exciting game.
Yeah.
All right. So today's topic, Mo. What are we gonna talk about today, Mo?
We're going to talk about co-parenting with the exes.
¿Por qué?
No me pegues.
Don't look at me, little puppet. All right. Yeah. Co-parenting with the exes.
Now, there may be a few of you, some of you, many of you who have a great parenting relationship.
And we jolly over here. We jolly.
It's very unfortunate that we don't have that experience, but it's not by choice, okay?
Not yet for me, though. I'm optimistic.
That things can and will change?
Yeah, I'm optimistic.
Oh, yeah, because you have a very long time.
Yeah.
My time is coming to an end. Woo! Kobe! Three-pointer.
Anyone. Here we go.
To be exact... 8/28.
And then before we start, this conversation that we're gonna be diving into right now, it's just our experiences, not to talk down on our exes or anything like that. We're just gonna express
because at the end of the day, people are gonna come for us. You chose them, you this, you that.
Which is true.
Guess
it's
what?
True.
We already know that.
Yeah.
Okay? But people change, and people should want to change. And when you have a child especially, you should make those changes, not just for yourself, but also for the well-being of your child. Okay? So you can come for me all day about, well, this is who you chose. Yeah, I know that.
But again, we're just talking about our experiences. It's not like we're not sitting here like, oh, feel sorry for us or anything like that. No, that's not what
I've
it is.
already done that for almost 18 years.
Yeah, so we're just here just to share our experience. Well, she's almost done. I'm still going through. I got plenty more time to go through it. Like I said, I'm trying to be optimistic instead of pessimistic. So let's dive into this conversation. Let's go. All right, Mo. Let's start with you. Ladies first. How many kids you got?
I have 2.
How many baby daddy you got?
2.
And what's been the co-parenting like with your first child's dad?
None. I didn't really have a co-parenting relationship. It was, I'm going to say it's selfish, where I wish the roles were reversed with my second son. You know, it's really selfish to say, but it's the hard co-parenting with somebody who doesn't want to meet you halfway or in the middle is the hardest thing ever. So with my first son, I really didn't have any co-parenting issues because he was involved but not really involved. So all the decisions that I made were mine to make. I would say out of, my son is now 24. Out of the 24 years, maybe I can calculate 5 years in total that he was actually involved and present in his son's life. Now, my second son, okay, can I commend him that he's been in our son's life the whole time? Absolutely.
You got to give credit where credit's due, right?
Yes. Have I faced a lot of challenges? Absolutely. The challenges have been as simple as get him a haircut every week. Okay, because I think that that's a man's job. I think that if you have a little boy, as a man, you should go out and take your son to get a haircut. Now, if you're a single mother and you have to, then hey, you know, you have to. But as a tia, I'm a tia to my niece. If for whatever reason my nephew was a single dad and I'm the tia stepping in to assist, I would do all the girly things with her because I'm sure it's uncomfortable for him. Unfortunately, it's not uncomfortable for me because I was already doing it with my first son. But that's where I'm at with my first son. You only have Aaron. So I don't know how much long after you guys split up, but was it always challenging? Has it always been challenging?
I kind of knew from the jump from her previous, because she has another son. So I already knew from the jump it was going to be a challenge if we separated. So I was aware of it, but was I ready for it? God no, I wasn't. Yeah, it's the co-parenting. It's rocky. You know, it's been rocky. At least for my past experience.
So sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Well, you just did.
But what you just said kind of ties into the previous podcast we just recorded last week.
Yeah.
Red flags. So can we kind of maybe dive into that if you don't mind? Like you said you were aware or you knew. Why do you think you dismissed it? Or did you not even think about it fully?
By then it was already a done deal. To be honest, she was already pregnant by then. I didn't really see too much of it in our relationship, because we didn't live with each other or anything like that, and they already had like a stable with her previously, like baby's dad, like they kind of already had a stable routine with their child. But there were certain things that I was like, I don't know about this. And what I mean by that was like, you know, when we found out we were pregnant, I kind of freaked out, and I was like, I'm gonna join the military because I didn't know what to do with myself at that moment. And you know, she was like, hey, yeah, I'll go with you, you know. And I was thinking to myself, like, well, what about, you know, your other son? And like, well, wherever I go, you know, he goes, type of thing. And I was like, oh, hell no. You know, especially the fact that he was a good dad. So, but that was just like her mentality. So I already knew that if it didn't work out, it was going to be whatever she wanted, you know? And that's the unfortunate part about certain parents, that they only think about what's best for them and not what's best for the child. So, and this is why this is an important topic. It's an important topic because it really comes down to maturity. We're all different. We're all brought up different. We're all raised different. Our views are different. But once you have a child, it's no longer about you. It's about them and what's the best interest for them. And that's the biggest problem when it comes to co-parenting, because everybody has their own way of parenting, and it's finding that ground where the both of you can figure out a way to mentor this child that you're bringing into this world. And it shouldn't be too complicated. You know, it shouldn't be too complicated. You know, meaning that we need to obviously show them love, compassion, understanding, you know, just like the basic essentials that we need.
So question, you deal with it on the female version, I deal with it on the male version. But do you think that the reason why we deal with it the way that we do on both sides, yes, their feelings and emotions are involved, but do you feel like there's anger in that and like resentment? That like they may have there's towards us?
It's both. It's both. There's a flare of emotions on both sides. Rather it's because in our relationship, I was the one that pretty much was like, hey, you know, I don't think this is gonna work anymore. So I don't know how she felt towards me in that moment. I don't know if it really hurt her. So in doing that, she's like, well, fuck this guy. I'm gonna hurt him as much as I can. I don't know. How about with you? Like, what do you think? Were you the one to leave, or was he the one to leave, or was it mutual?
So I was married for 7 years. If we're going to talk about red flags again, I could say now, where I'm at today, that I'm able to pinpoint the red flags. Yes. The red flags were simply, this person was constantly drinking all the time, excessively, every weekend. Okay. And at that time that I was married, I never had a voice. And not only did I not have a voice, but I never felt the need to say, hey, I don't like that. Hey, don't do that. Hey, you know, this bothers me. So I allowed certain things to happen. Now, when we finally came to an end, I don't think he was expecting me to say that I didn't want to be in this relationship anymore. And a lot of it did stem from hurt on his end. Like, I thought this was my forever person. But at the end of the day, I don't know if this person ever self-reflected, like, well, look at the things that I did, whatever. So in going to court, to be quite honest, and what a lot of men don't realize, you have power. Men have power, because when I was there with the lady helping me do the paperwork, I said, right now, this is our visitation, but I want to change it to this and this. She's like, oh, you're not going to get that. And my heart just sunk, because I'm like, why? She's like, because kids, you can't just take them out of their environment. Like, if they're used to this, that's what it's going to be. It can't just be because, oh, now mom all of a sudden wants to change it. That was my rude awakening, where I'm like, oh, shoot, I just got a reality check.
Yeah, I mean, that's one episode I want to do is custody, because that's an important one. We both went to court. We both did the whole custody thing, and it is a rude awakening on both sides. On both sides, because at the end of the day, all they care about is what's the best interest for the child. But every situation is different. I've heard so many horror stories with men. I heard a lot of horror stories with women. So it just depends on the judge and on who you get. Because some people start going off the rails, start accusing these people of doing this and doing that. And sometimes the judge will just eat everything up and believe everything that they say.
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate part about the court system and things like that. But we'll get to that on a different episode.
And this is where, if we're all able to be adults and mature about it, the court stays out of it, and they're not having to dictate how we split our time. Like, we should all be able to be cordial with one another, where a child should be, with mom and dad equally. But sometimes that's not your reality, and that's okay. So if that means being with mom, Monday through Friday, maybe dad gets to pick them up after school, then they go with dad every other weekend, or whatever it may be, maybe summer breaks. You guys have to figure that out. But when everybody's just like, there's so much anger and feelings and emotions tied into it, you're not thinking about what's best for the child.
No, I agree with that. Okay, my question to you would be, how do you think co-parenting affects a child?
I'm going to say it definitely affects a child if and when both parties are either attacking each other in front of the child, or are speaking ill about the other one in front of the child, or speaking directly to the child about the other party. How it affects them, I feel it causes so much confusion.
I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%. I'm curious to know if you're one of those individuals out there that goes out and attacks either the dad or the mom. Why do you do that?
Or maybe you were raised in that type of environment, and do you still at your adult age carry that with you, as far as like hearing or seeing mom and dad constantly fighting? It's like a tug of war with who wants me, and it's like, oh my gosh, you just want to throw your hands up and be like, don't I have a say in this type of thing?
Yeah, and I would sit here and I agree with you 100% when it comes to when a child is in the middle. When it comes to this whole co-parenting, and they're just innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire. And it's so damaging when you're trying to co-parent, but you just are fighting consistently, where it's a power struggle, where it should be for me, in my opinion, if a mom and a dad both want to be in that child's life, like that's a plus right there. Because there are certain circumstances where there's a mom or dad who don't want to be.
Yeah. Or just don't care to make any type of decision. They're there, but they just don't even care.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, if you are a mom or you are a dad and you both want to be present, number one, that's a good thing. It's a plus. Now it's just finding that ground, because that constant arguing, that bickering, especially in front of the child, that's the worst thing you can do. And I can honestly say, my son's 8. Honestly, I think he's probably only heard me argue with his mom probably like twice while he was there. And right away, I had to check myself. Like, bro, you cannot do this. You cannot have him present while you're talking to his mom and you guys are having a dispute. You just can't. And that's where we need to have that self-control. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna battle it out for whatever reason, fine. But have the respect, have the decency to not have those children present and be in the crossfire. Because at that point, now you're being fucking selfish, the both of you. And you should be ashamed of yourself.
Because it comes down to, again, remember, you chose this person.
And then, when these kids start acting out in school, it's like, oh, they're oh, why? And then you're trying to figure out, well, why is Jimmy acting so bad? Because of you guys. It's because of both of your parents. That's why. So it is.
Because they carry stress so much differently than we do. And we may sit here and think, well, what stress do you have as a child if, you have this game console and you're in this, sports and, I take you here and I give you this and I buy you that. Like, it's so much more than that, though, where it's like these kids, they just want peace. The same as like us adults, like we just want to find somebody who brings us peace. Our children also need peace. And peace cannot be found when one party is against the other party and then these are your parents. So now it's like they're having a hard time to create relationships and friendships because it's like all they know is arguing and fighting. So now they want to argue and fight everywhere they go because they think everything's a debate.
Yeah, and then they grow up and then they repeat that cycle. And that's where we have to be. That's why it's important to have these conversations. So we don't have these next generation and these next generations following in the same cycle. The same cycle. There's going to be conflict or whatever, but it's just learning how to balance it and just not getting the kids involved, period. Mm-hmm. And just being mature.
And again, kids, they're smart.
Yeah.
They will eventually be able to dictate or perceive good from bad, right from wrong, or to say, you know what? My dad was the one who was antagonizing, or my mom was the one who was always trying to keep me. They'll be able to figure it out because, as a kid, I didn't know a lot. Like you don't know what's going on. But now that I'm older, I'm like, even music. Like we were listening to a song the other day in the kitchen, and I told our mom, I'm like, Mom, you let me listen to that. She's like, yeah, that's a love song. And I'm like, exactly, a love song. And here I am, like 12, 13 years old, listening to this love song.
Girl, grooving, ain't nothing wrong.
Grooving to it. Yeah. And I'm like, but see, we don't realize that we're feeding our kids certain things. And as they mature and get older, they're like, oh, that's that. Oh, then the pieces start going together. That's why I'm saying kids will eventually figure it out. You don't have to be the one to say, your dad's this, your mom's that, or whatever it may be.
So what do you think are productive ways of co-parenting?
So I'll give you an example. An example to me would be if you're going to take, or you're planning on taking a family vacation, and it's either out of state, out of the country, and maybe you need certain documentation.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to call that parent and say, hey, Barbara, do you happen to have blah, blah, blah? No? Okay, well, I was thinking of taking, our son, daughter to wherever. How can we go about this? And not even that, like, are you okay with them flying and blah, blah, blah? Like, I'll let you know when we arrive. I'll let you know what flight we're on. That communication where it's not control, has nothing to do with control. This is your guys' kid. Yeah, you are their father. Yeah, you are their mother. But God forbid something were to happen on that flight and I don't know anything. You got me fucked up. That's my child. I should be able to know. And again, we can't put it on the child because children don't know how to communicate. So you can't expect like, oh, mommy, daddy, mommy's going to take me, to God knows where. And then you're all mad. Like, why didn't you tell me this? You're taking my kid across, the state, whatever. I think that is a great communication where you can say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What are your thoughts on it? I'll tell you when we arrive. I'll tell you when we're leaving.
Can you give me an example on maybe something that you've been through that was, productive in your co-parenting? Like, is there anything that stands out to you where it's like, oh, maybe transferring my son to a different school and, we both were involved or anything like that?
No.
No? I would like...
Because, and I'm going to be 100% honest, this person makes it so hard for me to communicate with. Now, see, if I'm communicating with you, there's no we, okay? You and I, we're not together. But if I'm calling you and I'm involving you in whatever it is that is being done, then I don't need you to say, we're going to talk to him. We're going to this. We're going to that. Because we don't share in the same core values and beliefs. So there's no we. There's a you and there's a me. Now, I'm doing what I need to do as a parent to inform you of what's going on. But we're not going to handle it in the same way.
Yeah.
I wish that it was that way. But unfortunately, that's not my situation.
The best, I could honestly say the best thing that ever happened to me and my son's mom was we went to co-parenting counseling. When we went to court, that was one thing. And I would advise that to any people out there who are going to court. You guys can't get along. Honestly, like, you need to put your pride aside, your ego to the side, because that's where it really stems from. Because I felt the same way the moment he forced the co-parenting. I was like, I don't want to talk to, I don't want to, like, my emotions were just so, like, just, ugh. But it was the most, at least for me, it was the most beneficial thing for us to do. Because, he just said, you got to get along for the child. And if you come back here still not able to get along, then I'm going to make a decision, and it's going to be a decision that one of you may not like.